And welcome to today's live commentary content for the NASCAR Xfinity Series at the Chicago Street Race for themselves, the Loop 110. And as I'm getting this stream set up, the live leaderboard is not working on the Xfinity Series side. It keeps coming up Cup qualifying right now on NASCAR.com. So I don't have any visuals for you at the moment when it comes to the qualifying order for today's race. So I may have to look up the qualifying order on my phone, because outside of SVG on the pole, I don't know of anything else, because I was at work in the morning when they had practice and qualifying going on. So I don't know anything at the moment. But welcome to the stream, everybody. 14 likes right now. Be sure to hit that like button. Let me get the chat poll up while I'm waiting also. Engines have just fired, so we are only a few minutes away, really, from the drop of the green flag for today's Loop 110. Who will win Xfinity Series race at Chicago? Gisbergen, Connor Zilich, pulling up the starting grid right now on my phone, so at least I can look off of something there. Surprised that SVG is the only Cup regular in the field today. So I guess I'll just put Justin Allgaier, but I hate putting him on the list every week. But there's really nobody else that I could consider a week in, a week out favorite in the Xfinity Series of the regulars. So I'll put Justin Allgaier in the poll also. All right, so the poll's open, and you'll have until the end of Stage 2 to vote for who you think is going to win today's race. Starting lineup for today's Loop 110 on the Chicago Street Course. Shane Van Gisbergen, as I mentioned moments ago, on the pole for both races this weekend. Actually just qualified on the pole for the Cup Series a little over an hour ago. Running the Junior Motorsports number 9 Chevrolet for today. Same car that Daniel Suarez won in Mexico City just a few weeks back. Austin Hill also on the front row qualifies in the second place position. And row number 2 will be Sam Mayer and Sheldon Creed. Jack Perkins, road course ringer, running the 19 for JGR today. On the inside of row 3 is where he'll start. Justin Allgaier, the series points leader, to the outside. Rookie William Sawalich and another rookie Nick Sanchez in row number 4. Sanchez, the most recent winner in the series. He won at Atlanta a week ago, his first career win of which. Jesse Love and Sammy Smith make up row 5, and that rounds out the top 10. Row 6 will be Brandon Jones and Preston Pardis, another road course ringer in the field, one of many. Carson Quapple with Alex LeBay in row 7. Harrison Burton, Connor Mosack, row 8. Austin Green, Matt Benedetto, row 9. And then Jeremy Clements and Thomas Annunziata in row 10. Daniel Dye, Brennan Poole, row 11. Blaine Perkins, Parker Retzlaff, row 12. Josh Balicki and Brad Perez, row 13. Row 14 for Josh Williams and Anthony Alfredo. Andre Castro, Kaz Gralla, row 15. Behind them in row 16, Jeb Burton and Ryan Ellis. Dean Thompson, Kyle Sieg, row 17. Row 18, Connor Zilich and Taylor Gray. Zilich starting deep in the field. Should be fun to watch him try to come from the back to the front. And then Ryan Sieg, Christian Eckes will round out the field for our starting grid, row number 19. 38 cars, full entry list for this weekend for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And our race length is 50 laps with only 15 laps in Stage 1 and Stage 2. So very short first couple stages of the race. 20 laps in stage number 3. Dean Tate, Gregory Bradley, Emogene Blevins, Billy Kramer, Steve, Jarrett Doan, and many others welcome into the stream. No audio on CW app, like the commentary, so all good. There we go. Appreciate you tuning back in. Yeah, I don't have any audio for the third consecutive week on the CW. And I don't watch on the CW app. I actually watch on my local CW. And I haven't had any audio with commentary for 3 weeks now. This is all I hear. I hear car noises. And then at faint moments, you can hear the crowd under like caution periods, pit stops. You know, you can hear the air gun and all that stuff. Anything on track audio-wise I can hear. but I don't have anything for commentary, which it does hurt the live commentary streams a bit just because I don't know anything in detail as to what adjustments drivers are making, what they're battling with race conditions. Usually that's where I would rely on the real commentary side of things. I would listen into that and I can relay that to you guys. So I don't have that. So if anybody updates throughout the course of the race in the chat as to, certain drivers, what they might be struggling with for handling that, is able to listen to that commentary, I greatly appreciate that. Then I can regurgitate more information to kind of help the live commentary stream. I'll refresh the NASCAR app right now to see, or NASCAR.com, to see if everything's working right on the live leaderboard. The NASCAR app is working perfectly fine, but NASCAR.com is very slow. It's still showing Cup qualifying on the raw feed, even though Cup qualifying wrapped up over an hour ago now. I'll tell you what, I want to talk about technical issues. I'm not going to get into it here, but this is not the only thing I've had technical issues throughout the course of the week with. It is very slow. I feel like anything I touch is having technical issues at this point. It's been a long week. Frank Powers, Mark Jess, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I've noticed some of you guys have been saying these last couple of weeks that the audio has been out for the CW on your end. I feel like it's just certain areas of the country that are having this problem, like whatever region, because the CW is a local affiliate. It's basically a local, channel. You don't have to have cable to watch the CW. All you need is an antenna. And I live in the Toledo, Ohio area, for instance, so I feel like anybody in the Toledo, Ohio area region that gets those same like weather channels and stuff like that, that I would, if they tried to watch the Xfinity race, would probably have the same issue, is what I'm guessing, because there are other issues with some of you guys, and apparently the app is having the same problem. I don't know how the app works. I never tried to watch on the app, so I don't know if SoCal KTLA 5 local CW owned by CBS, so no local affiliate. Interesting. It's weird that it works for some people and it doesn't for others. Yeah, definitely an issue they have to fix. I wonder how aware of the issue they can't be too aware that there's an issue with their programming on the audio side of things, because this is the third week in a row that I've had no commentary for CW, like at all. I see Steve in the chat saying use MRN. I got that comment the last couple of weeks too. The reason why I don't want to listen to the radio broadcast side of things, that's going to be ahead of what I'm watching. So, I'm trying to call the action on track as it happens. If there's a wreck, I try to hop on it quickly, with my own two eyes. If that happens on there, I'm not going to be able to catch it quick enough. Same thing with any sort of battles for position. I'm going to hear that, on the radio before I even see it with my own two eyes. So then it's kind of hard for me to commentate, what I'm seeing, because I just heard what exactly happened, and I'd just be regurgitating the same thing that they said, and I'd have to try to put my own. So it'd be kind of a pain for me personally. As far as the information side of things go, yes, that would solve that problem, but then my commentary side of things would suffer significantly too. I feel like it's a double-edged sword. It's the problem I have with this at the moment. CW's working on your end. Yeah, maybe if I hit the SAP button, the Spanish side will come up. And then I don't even think I have an SAP button. I have a smart TV, a Roku TV. I probably have to go into my settings on the TV to change it. This is my remote, for instance. There's it's a lot smaller than cable remote. So I definitely know cable remotes have the SAP button. Try to log back into NASCAR.com again. Cars are on the racetrack. We're currently working the parade laps. I would assume the raw feed will be up at some point in time. It shouldn't be down the whole race. This Cup Series. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, I just got to keep refreshing. Refresh the page like every 10 seconds. Eventually it'll pop up. Here we go. All right. We did go through the starting lineup already. You just couldn't look at it visually. So I'll just go back through it again since we're waiting anyway. That way you guys can follow along on screen. Again, our starting lineup for today's Xfinity Series Loop 110 at the Chicago Street Course. Shane Van Gisbergen on the pole. Austin Hill starting second. Sam Mayer, Sheldon Creed in row 2. Row 3 will be Jack Perkins and Justin Allgaier. Perkins again in the 19 for JGR. William Sawalich, Nick Sanchez, rookies in row 4. Row 5, Jesse Love, Sammy Smith. Row 6 will be Brandon Jones and Preston Pardis. Row 7 will be Carson Kvapil, Alex LeBay. Harrison Burton and Connor Mosack in row 8. Austin Green, Matt DiBenedetto, row 9. Jeremy Clements, Thomas Annunziata in row 10. Daniel Dye, Brendan Poole, row number 11. Row 12, Blaine Perkins, Parker Retzlaff. Josh Bilicki, Brad Perez in row 13. Row 14, Josh Williams, Anthony Alfredo. Andre Castro and Kaz Grala in row 15. Row 16, Jeb Burton, Ryan Ellis. Row 17, Dean Thompson, Kyle Sieg. Row 18, Connor Zilich, Taylor Gray. Then Ryan Sieg and Christian Eckes in row 19, rounding out the 38-car field. 50 laps. Again, stage 1 and stage 2 will be 15 laps each. 50 laps in the entire race. Therefore, 20 in stage 3. Just realized I have to minimize my page a little bit so you can see the lap counter. It's too large. Let's see if that's a little bit better. There we go. The app gives one camera angle, no audio, 2 in-car cameras. Oh, that stinks. Yeah, that's not enough. Well, now I made the font too small. Trying to find that happy medium. I had it too large, and then I minimized it a little too much. Trying to look at my phone. I have the stream playing. That's how I'm able to follow along in the chat and keep everything up on screen. There we go. That's a little bit better. They're on a commercial break as of right now. Green flag should be dropping as soon as they get on the other side of it. No rain in the forecast for today. Chance of pop-up showers for the Cup race tomorrow, but we know we're going to get all 50 laps in this evening. No problems there. Again, a very short race. One of the shorter Xfinity races of the season. Same for the Cup side tomorrow. A lot of drivers having issues with this racetrack and Cup practice and qualifying. I heard that was the same for the Xfinity Series practice session in the morning and their qualifying efforts. It's a hot, slick racetrack. A lot of bumps with the street course circuit. And the handling has just been a fit for everybody. And what is the third year in a row that we are seeing the Chicago street course layout? Same layout all 3 years, too. Nothing has changed with the track other than maybe some of the bumps around the racetrack itself, but the shape, the dimensions of the track, all the same. We're going to have ourselves a complete dry race, at least for today. Can anybody beat Shane Van Gisbergen is going to be the story of the weekend, not only tomorrow for the Cup race, but today for the Xfinity race as well. He's my pick to win. I'm taking him to sweep the weekend. Connor Zilisch, I think, is the driver who I think he's got a better shot to beat SVG today than anybody has to beat SVG tomorrow. The problem is Zilisch starts 35th because of having an incident earlier today in on-track activity. So that is going to be tough in just a short 50-lap race to go from the back to the front. Now, I think he can get up towards the front of the field. He's going to need all 50 laps, that's for sure. And he's going to need a lot of green flag racing to do so. Especially when you consider the fact an accident can happen at any corner and he can get caught up in it because he's going to be at the back of the pack. He's going to be in with the squirrels, as some would say, which is not where you want to be if you want to have a clean day, or at least more of a chance of having a clean day. Quite a few road course ringers in the field. Probably more so for this weekend in both the Cup and the Xfinity Series side of things with the Chicago Street Course compared to any other road courses that are not standalone Xfinity or truck road course events. Like, we had a lot of road course ringers in the truck race at Lime Rock Park last week, but that was also a standalone truck race. So Cup drivers couldn't fill certain spots. You know, drivers who would be usually pulling double duty for truck and Xfinity probably run the Xfinity race at Atlanta, and there were extra seats available, essentially. This weekend, there typically wouldn't be the case because Chicago is the same place that the NASCAR Cup Series are racing on, the same streets, same course for tomorrow. But we still have a lot of road course ringers for this afternoon. Should be a fun watch. Bringing you guys the action as always. And drop of the green flag is coming up here in a few seconds. Pace car is launching down Michigan Avenue, and they will be headed to pit road. By they, I mean the pace car. I don't know why I said they. The field, will be into the restart zone, into turn 12. Green flag is in the air. We're underway in the Loop 110. Shane Van Gisbergen well clear at the start-finish line as he launched out of that restart zone. 21 of Austin Hill battling side-by-side for second with his former teammate Sheldon Creed. Creed on the outside through turn 1. Now he'll have the advantage on the bottom in turn 2. And Creed will pull clear for that second spot. A lot of other drivers door to door as they race through the second turn, and SVG is off and running already away from Sheldon Creed. Justin Allgaier on the initial start, able to get up to 4th. One of the tougher corners for the Cup practice session a couple hours ago. Turn 4, one of the tighter areas of the racetrack. Corner entry, mid-corner, corner exit. Everybody looks to be good there. Longest straightaway of the track now between turns 5 and 6. Big closing rate in the braking zone by Sheldon Creed. Close the gap a little bit on Shane Van Gisbergen in that area of the track. Shane's expertise is going to be the tighter angled corners on the track in the back half of this layout. From turn 7 all the way back to the final corner in turn 12. Very short straightaways. Long braking corners. Creed's putting a lot of pressure on him for right now, but the next question is he abusing his equipment to stay with Shane Van Gisbergen right now, and can he be there for the long run as the tires fall off? Because we will see some fall off. There was in practice. Again, this is a very bumpy circuit. Opening lap is led by our pole sitter, Van Gisbergen. As they enter turn 1 on the second lap, he's got about a car length and a half clearance back to Sheldon Creed. And at the end of that said first lap, with Creed in second, Austin Hill again is in third, Justin Allgaier 4th, and Sam Mayer rounds out the top 5 and 5th. Pass attempt made for position, Nick Sanchez. And that was getting into turn 4, which isn't a huge passing area of the racetrack, but he was able to shoot in deep on the 19 of Perkins. Very good probability that Perkins just kind of let the 48 car go, seeing that he was breaking in much deeper. I don't think we've seen Jack Perkins in an Xfinity Series or NASCAR sanctioned race before. So he's probably not used to the aggressiveness that these drivers can race with. So he might not want to be doing that too often because I don't know if he's going to get those spots back throughout the course of the race today. Sheldon Creed in the fountain area of the racetrack, turn 8, turn 9, had snuck to the inside of Shane Van Gisbergen. SVG was able to side-by-side. Austin Hill almost capitalized on that by making a pass himself on Creed. Failed to do so, and even off the exit of turn 12 back to the main straightaway, Hill actually clipped the wall a little bit with the left side of his race car. Not too heavy, though. But you got to be careful because these are concrete walls. They're not as forgiving, no safer barrier. They do a lot of damage with these stock cars. We've seen that already this weekend. I'd say the Xfinity cars may be a little bit more durable on the crush zone side of things, but at the same time, I feel like it may be easier to cut a tire with a wall scrape here versus most ovals. I can't believe they're taking a commercial break on lap 3. What? That might be the earliest I think I've ever seen a commercial break in a NASCAR race before. What in the Fox Sports is going on here? And it's not Fox Sports either, it's CW. Lap 3 commercial break. Maybe they're trying to fix their audio issues on my end. So like, hey, let's go to commercial. Try to get this fixed. It's been down 3 weeks in a row. What? Nobody's told us this. Now that SVG's got a little bit of breathing room after Creed's failed pass attempt the last lap, the gap is about 0.7 of a second between himself and the double zero who is still in second place. It's a 1.3 second difference to Austin Hill in third, 1.7 seconds to Justin Allgaier in fourth, and 2.3 seconds to Sam Mayer in fifth. So still tightly packed together for the most part. Ryan Sieg has some damage around the left rear tire. I would assume that he has made contact. And probably with the wall, because there's quite a bit of damage to the left rear corner panel. Looked like he might have backed it into one of the corners. I think he was tailing the field as they were showing on camera as well. Yeah, he scored in last. So he definitely went for a spin and then had to wait for everybody else to basically clear by him before he was able to get rolling again. Sieg has made his way to pit road. We'll be changing at least left side tires. We'll have to wait to see a replay when they come back from the commercial break to know exactly what area of the racetrack Ryan Sieg went for a spill. Austin Hill losing touch of those top 2 positions just a bit. Creed has slowly closed the gap on Shane Van Gisbergen again. Failed to make that pass a couple laps ago. He's about 1/10 quicker the last time by. Not much, but he's doing a great job right now. Creed has never won in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Been second double-digit times. I've lost count at this point exactly how many seconds he has, but it's in the double digits. It's the most second-place finishes without a win in an Xfinity Series career. Longest active streak before that was Dale Jarrett before he was finally able to break through and get his first career Xfinity win. I think he had 9 runner-ups. Creed has surpassed that. And he's trying to run down the modern-day GOAT when it comes to road course racing here in the top level of stock car auto racing. Lap 5, that means we're a third of the way through stage 1 already. Again, very short event. Ryan Sieg is still on pit road. Pit crew continues to repair damage on the left rear. So he has already gone 1 lap down. He's the only car lap down, so if he gets off and gets rolling again, he might be able to get himself in the free pass position. It wasn't a complete spin by Ryan Sieg, but he ended up catching the wall. Couldn't tell what area of the track that was. It was out of the exit of a left-hander, though, and now more problems, and this is going to bring out our first caution, turn 6. The 19 of Jake Perkins has gone around, and even heavier damage to the back of his car than what we just saw from Ryan Sieg moments ago. Jack Perkins, excuse me, not Jake Perkins. Jack Perkins, making his Xfinity Series debut today, has crashed. He qualified in the top 6 positions. He fell back a couple spots on the start, but it's going to be tough for him to continue with the amount of damage he has. At least at a speed that can be capable of putting together good lap times and the ability to compete for the win. So caution is out. Forgot there's no audio, so I'll have to keep it here. Just gonna let the CW booth try to diagnose the issue. They've had a rotating cast of Cup Series drivers in the CW booth for the last several weeks, and I haven't been able to listen to any of it. They had Blaney in at Pocono. I don't know who was in there last week at Atlanta. Was it Kyle Busch? I think it was Kyle Busch. And I have zero clue who it is this week. In part because I can't hear it. Might have been a little bit of contact from behind for Perkins. It looked like was it Sam Mayer that was running behind him? It was probably Sammy Smith, because Sanchez already passed him. So I'd imagine Perkins was in 7th in front of Sammy Smith. And again, it was turn 6 where Perkins had contacted the outside wall. Corey Gibson, thanks for tuning in. SVG versus Zilich for the finish. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on Zilich. He started 35th today. Back in the pack after damage from earlier in on-track activity. And he has already made his way up to 21st. So 14 positions gained in those opening 5 laps for Zilich before the caution. Might get some drivers coming to pit road in front of him. I don't expect many to come down. Obviously outside the fuel window to make it to the end. And this should be a one-stop race for fuel. Probably not going to see a lot of drivers pitting in stage 1. And may see them pit more towards the midway point of the race and kind of split this race in half. There could be a 2-tire strategy where they just pit before the end of each stage when they know that they're going to get a caution. I'm sure some drivers will try that. And then we'll really see the risk versus reward as to, are tires that much more important than track position? I don't think that that's the case, even though we will see some fall off. Fastest lap so far is actually from Sheldon Creed, 92.652. No, that is not correct. Austin Hill has the fastest lap. Lap 4, 92.496. It was Busch last week. Yeah, they were kind of making some jokes about it on the TNT broadcast. I can remember the next day because Adam Alexander had to stay up late to call that Atlanta race, as did we past midnight Eastern, and then he was on the call the next day for the Cup race. That's all right. The race was later in the day, so it's not like he was lacking that much sleep. I mean, if I could do it, I can imagine he could do it. Be perfectly fine. Take a look at the chat polls, see who you guys have voted for. 41 votes, 59, make that 60, 59, okay. 60, yeah, 60 votes, or sorry, 42 votes, 60% of you taking SVG for the win. I'm surprised more people have picked Justin Allgaier over Connor Zilich to win the race today. Allgaier's got 19%, he's in 2nd place, then other at 14%, then Zilich at 9%. Remember, Zilich is 2 for 2. on road courses in the Xfinity series this season. So that is shocking to me that he's in last on that driver poll. With single-digit percentage, might I add. Again, you have until the end of stage 2 to vote for who you think is going to win, and then we'll get our final tallies. I mean, I took SVG for the win too, but I'm just surprised that Allgaier and somebody other than literally the whole field is essentially higher in the chat poll than Connor Zilisch. So Perkins was not able to drive his car back to pit road. He's going to need a record to hook him up and take... Oh, no, never mind. He was just waiting for the field to pass by. Whatever area of the track he's in right now. Plus he exited pit road and he's waiting for the field to get back by. Not sure what's going on here. I don't have any audio, so can't confirm. We still don't have a great angle as to whether Sammy Smith got into the back of him or not. Now, again, you'll have to let me know, radio communications, if they have been audioed in on the broadcast for anybody that does have audio, as to if he said that he got hit from behind or not. William Sawalich in the 18 has climbed out of his car, middle of the racetrack. Now he's climbed back into his car. I don't know what's going on here. I really wish I had audio. He climbed out of his car and then climbed back in. Does he think that he can still drive? I don't think you're allowed to do that. I don't think you can get out of the... I would assume that the car probably caught fire. I don't know why else he'd be getting out of his car. It does look like there's some smoke around the car. Or at least there was. He's trying to get it refired. He climbed out of his car and then climbed back in, and he's trying to get it refired. This is an absurd caution, I'll tell you that much. Leave it to the Chicago street race to have some wonky situations happen. 4 DNFs in the last 9 races for Sawalich. Finished 36, one of those DNFs last week at Atlanta. He's going to get a pushback to pit road. Maybe. I didn't think he can get out of the car and then get back. Shades of Sterling Marlin, 2002 Daytona 500. It wasn't pulling on the fender under red flag, but that's the only other time I can think of somebody getting out of their car and then getting back in and they continue on in the race. I didn't think you could do that. What is going on? And there was no safety officials around. That's why I was wondering if there might have been a fire in the cockpit or something that he got out, because I don't understand why else he would have got out of the car with no safety officials around. Right in the middle of the racetrack. Well, we've only had 5 laps of green flag racing, but it has been wild already here today at Chicago. For the weirdest reasons you can imagine. Halfway through stage 1 as we circuit under caution still. Got only 15 laps in this opening stage, so we've only ran 2 laps of yellow up to this point. The caution coming out at lap 5. I think Sawalich has gotten pushed back to pit road, and the lights are out on the pace car, so we'll be going green this time. Oh, it looks like they're going to add a lap of... I think they're adding a lap of caution. No, they are going green this time. Okay. For a second, I thought they were... I had my turns confused. They must have been getting out of turn 8. I thought that they were coming out of turn 2. All right, that makes more sense. I'm caught up. All's good. I'll get it figured out eventually. Stephen Harvey, Beth Hagerstan, thanks for tuning in. They're pushing the 18 of Sawalich down pit road at the moment, but the green flag will be waving. And we are back to racing in Chicago. SVG with another great launch out of the restart zone. Pulls clear the second place car. Creed also clear for second at the moment. Austin Hill trying to charge to the inside. He's got a car to his outside. That would be the 7 of Justin Allgaier. That battle is for third. Creed was putting quite a bit of pressure on SVG those first 5 laps of the race before the caution flag came out, so we'll see if he can continue the pressure now with the heat cycle on the tires as we have a handful of green flag laps in the race. We have about 6.5 laps to go in stage 1, and Austin Hill has the fastest lap of anybody on those first 5 laps. Most of the top drivers in the field ran their fastest laps on lap 4. Creed was on lap 3. SVG has gapped him by probably the largest lead he's had in the short amount of time that we've been able to race in this one. What the heck just happened? I lost CW. I lost it. Let me try logging out, logging back in. It says, sorry, the channel is temporarily unavailable. I'll tell you what, man, these technical glitches are something else today. There we go. I had to log out of Hulu and log back in. We're good. I got it back. I'm back. That was weird. I was scared. I lost the race. That would have sucked. 1 second lead for SVG. 6 laps to go in the stage, so we're just over a lap complete following the restart. Yeah, that's definitely his largest lead so far, and that was only 1 lap following the restart. 3 wide into turn 2, back half of the top 10. 32 of Austin Green, slipping underneath of Brandon Jones, Preston Pardis. So he tries to move up to 12. It's a little bit further back than what I initially thought. Connor Zilic is right behind them already. Turn 4 launches past the 20 of Brandon Jones. One Red Bull car trying to chase another. Connor Zilic has already made his way up into the top dozen after starting in 35th. And if you exclude the caution laps that we've ran so far, we've only had 7 green flag laps in this race. And now the 14 is going to go wide. That's another spot for Zilic. Connor Mosak is up against the tire barrier. Right-handed corner, I believe that is turn 5. And he's going to have to wait for the whole field to pull past him before he's able to get out of the tire barrier and get back in the right direction again. Now, he very slightly got against the tire barrier. He didn't necessarily knock the tires off of the wall or indented them enough that that would warrant a caution. As he tries to back his car up, he does have a flat left front tire. He probably flat spotted it in the midst of that slide. And now he is dragging parts and pieces all the way back into the pits. He's got a handful of corners to go. He's all by himself at the moment. Obviously, the rest of the field is on the other side of the racetrack, so as long as they don't catch him, we'll stay green. Another issue on the track simultaneously, and it's the 19 again, so it looks like the left rear tire is down on Jack Perkins. Perkins involved in that first incident, bringing out that first caution, and I don't think the team got the left rear fender away from that left rear tire, as he has a flat as a result of the damage that was already sustained from earlier. So he's trying to get back to pit road. NASCAR's keeping it green. He's out of the way for now. The hope is that that left rear tire carcass doesn't completely fall off the race car, because then that would warrant a caution for debris. And he's out of the way of traffic now. They all got by him in the middle portion of the track. When he gets to the tighter corners of the racetrack, he's got to get to pit road in one piece. And before the field comes back to lap him again, just like we saw with the 14 as well. 4 laps to go, stage 1. The lead is still about 9/10 of a second for Van Gisbergen over Sheldon Creed. Sam Mayer just set the fastest lap of the race in 4th place the last time by, 92.04 at lap 11. Sammy Smith, Jesse Love also running their fastest laps of the race that last time by. And same for Connor Zilich and Alex LeBay, who are 11th and 12th. We'll see if anybody's going to pit before the end of stage 1 to try a 2-stop strategy over a 1-stop strategy. Pit road closes with 2 laps to go in the stage when the race leader gets to the start-finish line. So SVG will be coming up on 3 to go at the line this time by. The 54 is on pit road. And that would be Taylor Gray. He started at the back of the pack with Zilich as well. Not sure where he was running in the running order. Now he's got to cycle off of pit road on the lead lap for this strategy to work, but I think he'll be able to do so easily. SVG is just getting into turn number 9 right now. And already exiting the pit box is Gray. 12th turn road course, 2.2 miles on the circuit. And we'll see if SVG comes to the pit from the lead this time by, and what the leaders are going to do behind him. If they stay out, I'd imagine that they're going to stay out all the way through the end of stage 1 and try to make it as far into stage 2 as possible without pitting. The 2 car of Jesse Love is on the pit road right now. Same for Preston Pardis from 11th. Jesse Love was inside the top 10. Nick Sanchez jumps up into the top 5 now, getting by Love. Connor Zilich with the 2 cars pitting in front of him is now to 9th. So pit road will be closed this time by when SVG gets to the stripe. So by technicality, he can still pit this time by if he wants. Brandon Jones also on pit road. But I don't think that the 20 team is changing tires is an issue, or there is a crew member climbing into the right side window of the 20. Again, with no audio on the CW, I don't know exactly why that is the case, but we have longer pit stop than initially anticipated here for Brandon Jones in the 20. He was running right around 13th to 14th place before his pit stop. Lead is still 8 to 9/10 of a second for SVG over Sheldon Creed. Around the fountain. Coming up on turns 9, 10, 11, and obviously 12 will be the final corner. Pit road on the right side, exiting the corner. Is it the 1-stop strategy for SVG? I'd imagine that'd be the case. I mean, we have guys running their fastest laps. Lap 13, SVG ran his fastest lap. Lap 13 for Austin Hill. I think the 1-stop strategy is the way to go. I don't think tires are going to matter as much as what not only the teams probably thought coming in, but as well as myself. Because we got drivers running their fastest laps of the race towards the end of the stage on the same tires they started with. SVG had not only his fastest lap of the race, but it was the fastest lap overall in the race last time by, 92.136. So 2 laps to go, stage 1. Not really a battle inside the top 5 on the closing laps of the stage. And we've got another car in the wall, and this is going to bring out a caution. That's Brad Perez in the 45. And that looks to be turn 4. This car's stuck up against the tire barrier. And now he'll drive away. But not before the caution flag was out. It looked like he was wedged up against the tire barrier. So caution is out. Stage 1 will end under yellow. Pace car will pick up the front of the field here off the exit of turn 1. And Shane Van Gisbergen is just coming to the final lap of the stage right now. So we shouldn't have a long wait for pit road to open during the stage break. I don't expect a lot of cars to come down, though. Car slipped out from underneath Perez, and that was turn 4. I did have that corner correct. Not sure if he wheel hopped it or if the car just... I mean, he definitely came in too hot. Way too hot under braking. And ended up sliding driver's side door first into the tire barrier. He's caught against it for a minute. Again, caution is out. STL Mark, Jojo, thanks for tuning into the stream as well. We got 2 Jojos. We got Joe, and Jojo. I appreciate you all watching. Live in the greater Philadelphia area. No chance I'm getting a cheesesteak from Harvey's. That's a good point. I don't blame you there. I'd probably do the same thing. Can I get CW Sport? Dog the Bounty Hunter's on the CW for some of you? Oh, man. I haven't heard of that show in forever. What's the fuel window? I did not catch that on the CW broadcast on the parade laps. I must have missed the graphic when they were showing it. I would assume they had to have shown it. I was having some technical issues with trying to get the raw feed up on NASCAR.com. I think that's when I might have missed the pit analysis for the race. It should be a pretty straightforward one-stop race, but I don't know when that window opens. At some point in stage 2, it would have to, because we only have 35 to go in the race out of 50. Halfway, obviously, could be a good spot. We'll see a lot of cars pitting, but the idea on road courses, street course in this case, you want to be the first to pit last for track position. We're not seeing a lot of tire fall off, which is surprising for the Xfinity series because these cars have a lot lower downforce than the Cup cars. And there are a lot of tracks where we see at least a little bit of fall off on the Xfinity side, but maybe not as much in Cup. So the Xfinity tires aren't falling off. I'd imagine we're going to see a lot of the same strategy for the Cup race tomorrow. Now, the Cup race is 25 laps longer, so that's going to be a for sure 2-stopper. But this one here today, only 1. Caution fest in stage 1. Well, not really. I mean, there's only 2 yellows. A lot of spins, but only 2 of them warranting in full course cautions. And one of which ending the stage under yellow. No lead changes. Our pole sitter, Shane Van Gisbergen, has led all 15 laps of the race so far. Sheldon Creed putting a lot of pressure on him on that first stint for 5 laps when everybody had fresh tires. The restart on older tires, he fell behind by about a second, but he was able to stay within a second the entire rest of stage 1, which ended up going about 7 laps. So I'd say all things considered, Sheldon Creed's doing the best he can trying to keep pressure on the 9 of Shane Van Gisbergen. And obviously Connor Zilisch working his wayward through the field. 8th place at the end of stage 1 for Zilisch after starting in 35th. 12 green flag laps. Amazing job well done for him. No, not a scratch really on the car for the 88 either. So obviously still have to wait to see Zilisch get up here, see if he's got anything for Shane Van Gisbergen, but this could be more of a fight. I think today's race could be more competitive than tomorrow when it comes to who can beat Shane Van Gisbergen. Sheldon Creed is impressing me for sure, but I knew coming into the day that Connor Zilisch probably had more of a chance to beat SVG than any Cup driver for tomorrow. And he's more equipped with these Xfinity cars, too, and he's already won twice on road courses this season. This is the head-to-head matchup we wanted to see. We have not gotten to see it yet. We technically could have seen it at COTA earlier this year, but Zilisch got taken out in an early incident in the Cup race there. And surprisingly, Zilisch not running the Cup race this weekend. would have had to qualify on time had he been on the entry list. We had 41 entries for the Cup race, and Corey Heim was the driver going home this weekend. For shockingly, Josh Bilicki and Catherine Legg for NBM and for Live Fast Motorsports, able to beat out the 2311 Toyota after Heim had an issue on his first qualifying lap, getting up against the wall, suffering some damage, and there's enough damage to slow him down where he couldn't put together a fast enough time to qualify his way in. So Corey Heim will be headed home early this weekend. Got pit stops going on right now. I'd usually let you listen into the pit reports, but I've got nothing. A lot of 4-tire changes. Fuel window must be open to the end of the race then. They might have been right on the edge of the window for those that decided to pit now versus pitting during the stage end. We started seeing drivers pit with about 4 to go in the stage, which Taylor Gray was really the only car that came onto pit road with 4 to go. And then anybody else that pitted under green would have pitted with 3 to go. So they're going to have about 3 to 4 less laps of gas in their car versus everybody that just pitted right now. And if they were pitting solely for the sake of wanting to take fresh tires, that shocks me because, again, we saw the fastest laps of the race on those final couple green flag laps before the caution came out, ending the stage slightly prematurely. Lost the track position. Could be tough to get back for many. Saw Connor Zilic making passes with ease. I would imagine Shane Van Gisbergen will be able to do the same under a certain circumstance. We'll definitely get to see him restart behind others. If we do get quite a few yellows, I guess that would extend the fuel window by the 3 or 4 laps to have the ability for a lot of these teams to make it. So that's probably the reason as to why we saw drivers pit when they did. I'll wait for our leaderboard to cycle out, and then I'll read off the top 10 positions leading into the start of Stage 2. Once more, 15 laps at Stage 2, just like we had for Stage 1. Field versus SVG at this point? Well, I'd say Connor Zilic versus SVG versus the field. And I would say Sheldon Creed would be the only driver in the field that I could see competing with those two based off the eye test of what I've seen so far. Still going to have to survive the restart, and they're going to be in the middle of the pack now, so got to keep the fenders clear, keep them clean. We'll take a break here on the stream. We're listening live on KRC, NASCAR Xfinity Series Loop 110 on the Chicago Street Course. Listening live. So got people talking about Arby's in the chat. That's Cody Ware's sponsor this weekend, correct? He's got the Arby's Philly steak sandwich car in the Cup Series. Pretty sure it was him. He's had the Arby's car a couple times this year. Not the Philly cheesesteak Arby's car, but he's had an Arby's car a few times this year. Well, staying out to get the stage points would be weird for the 9, considering he isn't racing for Xfinity points. So I don't know why he would have stayed out there. I guess because Junior Motorsports is in the playoffs with the number 9 because Daniel Suarez won in that car. Maybe they stayed out to get a playoff point for the Owners' Championship. I'd be shocked if we see anybody pit at the end of stage 2. My guess is the fuel window's open, and that's why they pitted. We shall see. Because if we didn't have fall off on the start of the race, I don't see us having fall off, another 15 lap stint. We just saw that. Interesting. Oh, SVG stayed out. Everybody else pitted. I see. I missed that. I apologize. Shane Van Gisbergen stayed out of the pits during the caution. Everybody else pitted for tires. So they just wanted to do opposite of the leader, I would assume. I sincerely apologize for that. That was a big mistake on my part. I can't believe I didn't see that. So SVG stays out. He'll be in front of everybody that pitted before the end of the stage. He's going to have the oldest tires in the field, but we haven't seen a lot of fall off. Question is it the great equalizer to beat the road course slayer that is Shane Van Gisbergen? All right. Green flag in the air. Another great launch for SVG in the restart zone, having that inside lane, the preferred lane as well. He is well clear into the start-finish line area of the track. He'll hold that line into the first turn. Jeb Burton is in second behind him, side by side for third. Jesse Love, Christian Eckes. And some of those cars that pitted during the stage break, a little bit further back in the pack. Highest running of those would be Austin Hill in 13th. So the top dozen stayed out of the pits during the stage break because they had pitted before the end of the stage, except for SVG, who has not pitted yet. So he's got less fuel in the car. He'll have to come onto pit road probably before anybody else under green. So outside the fuel window, I would assume to the end of the race from when everybody just pitted. They were just trying to do opposite of the leader. SVG able to pull away from Jeb Burton and Jesse Love, who battle for second place on the racetrack. Already over a 1.5 difference between first and second. We haven't even completed a full lap yet in stage 2 under green. Jesse Love under braking in turn 9, clear, and gets by Jeb Burton for position. Burton was inside the playoff cutoff line coming into the race today. We'll take a look at that on screen here for a quick second. It's scrolling at the top of the screen as well. Allgaier leads the regular season point standings by 63 over Sam Mayer. We have 7 drivers out of 12 possible spots locked into the Xfinity Series playoff field with wins. 3 for Allgaier, 3 for Austin Hill, 2 for Connor Zilisch, and then 1 for Jesse Love, Brandon Jones, and Nick Sanchez. Sanchez and then Sammy Smith as well has a win. So then 8th technically would be Sam Mayer, then Carson Kvapil, Taylor Gray, Jeb Burton, Sheldon Creed. Creed is the last driver in on points, virtue of a tiebreaker to that of Brian Sieg. So staying out to get those stage points was vital for Sheldon Creed. Great qualifying effort, obviously, to do so as well. Second place stage points in stage 1. We'll see where he can run here in stage 2 after restarting outside the top 10 on a tough track to try to make passes. He's up to 9th. He's gained a few positions already. Connor Zilisch restarted this stage back in 18th, and he is already, I should say he's currently 18th. So he hasn't really made his way forward much on the restart, just 2 spots. He restarted 20th. He was able to go from 35th to 8th in stage 1 under 12 green flag laps. 1 extra restart with only 1 caution for incident in the middle portion of the stage. And then again, that second yellow ended stage 2. So that was the second restart of the race that we just saw. Only natural yellow so far. Already 10 laps to go in stage 2, this time by at the line. Slight contact. Anthony Alfredo, Thomas Annunziata battling for position moments ago. Middle of the pack. Connor Zilic actually has the fastest lap of the race now. And that was on lap 11 back in stage 1, where he had a little bit more open traffic to race versus what he's got right now early in stage 2 in the middle of the pack. So he broke up into the top 10. He put down a lap of a 91.846. So, I mean, fastest lap of the race was 0.3 quicker than any lap Shane Van Gisbergen has ran. And SVG has had nothing but clean air from the start, because he's led every lap of the race so far. So Zilic may not only have the pace to keep up with Shane Van Gisbergen, but he may have the pace to outright beat him if given any sort of track position. But that's the fight and the battle of having to start at the back of the pack in a short race like this. It's already slightly off strategy with him, and now he's having to go hard at work again just to try to scratch and claw his way through the field. Justin Allgaier wide out of turn 8. Might have brushed the wall just a little bit, but it was so subtle that I don't believe he's really got hardly any damage at all on the 7. Would have been with the left side of the car. I don't see any tire rub or smoke coming because of a tire rub around that left rear. He's right in front of Sam Mayer, was battling for position when he had lightly scraped the wall, trying to keep up with his teammate, Connor Zilic. And actually looking for a path to maybe get around him with Zilic backed up in the middle of traffic. With the 4.6-second lead for Shane Van Gisbergen, Jesse Love is in second, Jeb Burton in third, Josh Williams fourth, fifth is Christian Eckes. Sixth place Sheldon Creed, Preston Pardis seventh, Austin Hill eighth, Thomas Annunziata ninth, and Brandon Jones rounds out the top 10. 11th is Daniel Dye, Sammy Smith 12th, Taylor Gray 13th, Connor Zilic 14th, and Justin Allgaier in 15th. 16th is Sam Mayer, Carson Quapple 17th, Harrison Burt 18th, Blaine Perkins 19th, and 20th is Ryan Ellis. Austin Green 21st, Matt DiBenedetto 22nd, 23rd for Josh Balicki, Nick Sanchez 24th, Dean Thompson 25th, Brennan Poole 26th, Alex LeBay 27th, Jeremy Clements 28th, Kaz Gralla 29th, and Kyle Sieg 30th. 31st, Parker Retzlaff, Andre Castro 32nd. 33rd, Brad Perez, Connor Mosack 34th. Anthony Alfredo just pulled on the pit road moments ago. He's 35th, and the team was actually underneath the hood of that number 42 Chevrolet, so problems for him. Jack Perkins had that crash and then a flat left rear tire. I think he is still in the race, but 4 laps down. Mechanical failure, looked like maybe an engine issue for William Sawalich. He's out 37th. Ryan Sieg crashed out. He is 38th. So 2 cars out, still 34 on the lead lap. 2 cautions, 7 laps under yellow, with those 2 yellows both for incident in stage 1. Stage 2 has not yielded a caution yet. We are halfway through the second stage, and we will be halfway through the entire race in another lap and a half. So SVG on that one-stop strategy. He's got track position, staying out of the pits, not a lot of tire fall-off. Again, I'm shocked that a lot of drivers pitted there. I get trying to do different as a leader, but knowing that there were going to be drivers who are going to cycle behind how hard it is to pass, losing that extra time to SVG. That's less time you can maybe follow behind him, follow his line, get even better. What does he have that I don't? Might have a better gauge of that if I'm running behind him, and you don't have that ability now. And Jesse Love in second doesn't even have that ability because he's 7 seconds off the lead already. Which is insane because we've only ran, 6 green flag laps in this stage? Maybe 5? Good Lord. Creed's up to 4th, though. Austin Hill, who also pitted during the stage break, is in 6th. Zilic's struggling a lot more in traffic now than he did earlier, and I wonder if that 88 team went the wrong way on an adjustment, because he went from flying past cars back in stage 1 to struggling to pass cars when others that he definitely seemed to be quicker than or had passed, earlier in the race is now in a situation where they're passing cars and the guy who might be the fastest in the field isn't. Oh, hang on. Got a car in the wall again. Matt DiBenedetto in the 99. Turn 1, I do believe. Yep, turn 1. Got up against the tire wall. And the right front tire might be taking a beating because that fender's bashed in quite a bit. Benedetto definitely going to have to bring the car back to pit road. I do think the right front tire is going down. We saw that flat tire from the 19 earlier didn't warrant a caution. He was able to limp his car back to pit road. So hopefully DiBenedetto can do the same. The problem is that was in turn 1, so he's got to go the full distance around this 2.2-mile racetrack to get back into the pits before something goes wrong. Rodrigo Sanchez, thanks for tuning in. Six laps to go now in stage 2, coming up on 5 this time by. Sanchez was able to make a few passes up inside the top 10 earlier. He's currently battling with the 54 of Taylor Gray. And Gray also trying to make a pass simultaneously on the car in front of him, which he does so successfully through turn 14. Now caution is out. And I wonder if it's the tire carcass that might have came off of the 99 of DiBenedetto's car. It's not for rain. We got clear skies. Yep, it is. Okay, tire carcass on the racetrack. And if it's not from the 99, then somebody else has hit the wall recently as well that we did not know of. But I'd assume that was for Matt DiBenedetto. And that looks to be over the train tracks in turn 11 with that bridge area. So he was very close to pit road. He had one more turn to go. But the tire carcass came off just a little too early. So field window should be open to the end of the race here because we're at pretty much exactly halfway for this caution. Lap 25 of 50. And this is where the race could be won or lost for Shane Van Gisbergen. Don't make a mistake on pit road. The pit crew's got to be perfect as well. And we'll see if that number 9 team can win the race out of the pits. Sheldon Creed was able to get up to third right before the caution came out. He was second at the end of stage 1. Connor Zilic in the 88 was able to drive up to ninth. Those are kind of the two guys I'm keeping an eye on that can compete with SVG for the win on speed based off the first half of the events. 50 minutes in, and we're already halfway home. Again, very quick race today. I mentioned it a couple times. I'll probably still mention it throughout the course of the race and tomorrow's as well. It's a quick weekend. Thanks for everybody tuning in. We've got 48 likes on the stream. See if we can get that to 100. We're almost halfway to the goal. We're about halfway through the race. We'll take a quick break, continue our live commentary. No, Love's not saving gas. I mean, it's an easy one-stop race. Jesse just doesn't have the pace that not only SVG has, but even other drivers who were in the top 5 earlier. You know, like Sheldon Creed, and I'd say even Austin Hill has been outrunning him. Austin Hill has done a silently good job at the Xfinity level of road courses. Not necessarily competing for wins a lot, but he's up in the top 4 or 5 all the time. He's kind of consistently that like 4th or 5th best car every time we go to a road course. Here he is today. He's been running top 5 pretty much the whole time outside of the pit cycling and being outside the top 10 of the restart, but he drove up to 4th. He was following Sheldon Creed every step of the way. Alrighty. Quick reminder that the NASCAR Xfinity Series race coverage obviously ongoing right now. Our NASCAR Cup Series race coverage will be beginning tomorrow on the channel at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, beginning with our pre-race. And in our NASCAR Cup Series pre-race shows, we have some NASCAR trivia, followed by a highlight of the Fantasy League, my predictions for who I think will run well, not run well, and because the in-season tournament is still going on, we'll highlight the 8 matchups for this week as well, with that $1 million bonus on the line. No perfect brackets left, so I'm not going to really go over my bracket predictions because they didn't go very hot last week, so... I would have went over it more in depth had I won most of the matchups, but considering I only got 7 of the 16 because of that big one taking all my heavy favorites out, and my final 2 are gone now, I don't think I'm going to focus on my bracket the rest of the bracket on the pre-race. I think I'm just going to highlight what we have actually to look forward to as far as who is going to win that $1 million going forth over the next 4 weekends. Pit road going to be open this time by. We'll have about 4 laps to go in the stage. So we're actually going to get a restart and then another restart soon after, despite the fact that the field window is open to make it to the end. Most of the field should come in. No, they're going to do opposite. So SVG pits, everybody stays out. A lot of these drivers are probably going to try to go for the stage win. Very few cars are pitting, though, right now. And again, I get trying to do opposite of Shane Van Gisbergen. But if they're going to want any way to compete with them, they're just going to keep putting themselves back in traffic more. Like Connor Zillett stayed out too. I feel like they're handing the 9 car the win. Either that or they're just accepting that he's going to win, so they're just racing for second. I mean, that's the only other thing I can think of. It's shocking to me that this happened twice now. I mean, I get the idea of the only way you can beat him is by doing opposite on strategy. That is not the case today when it's a simple one-stopper and there's no tire fall off. Had there been tire fall off, this would have worked, but also had there been tire fall off, SVG probably would have pitted under the earlier cautions, but he didn't because there's no reason to. And, the only thing here is he's going to be back in traffic for 1 lap. Not 1 lap. It's probably going to be about 2 or 3 laps by the time we get the restart in, but stay out of trouble and I'd have a shot. I don't know why Connor Zillett did. That was your chance to get up with SVG. If the 88 team pits there, he restarts with SVG on the front row, and it's a 1v1 battle. But now he stayed out. He's in 7th. He's got at least 6 cars in front of him right now. Plus whoever just hit pit road with SVG, because there were some guys at the back of the field that did. And this is questionable. Like, I'm no NASCAR crew chief, but I'm just shocked at the strategy calls by everybody but the 9 teams so far today. The 9 teams doing their job. They're holding up their end. Like, are they just accepting the L and racing for second? Like, I don't get it. I get it for Sheldon Creed because he doesn't have a win. He's on the playoff bubble. He needs points. So he stayed out, was second in stage 1. He stays out again. Like, that I can explain. Jeb Burton, same thing. He's on the playoff bubble. He's barely on the inside of that cut line coming into the day. He needs points. He's 4th. He stays out. He was up in the top 10 also. But Austin Hill, Connor Zillett, Brandon Jones, Justin Allgaier, Sammy Smith, they all have wins. Why are they not pitting? Like, they don't need the stage points. Allgaier's got an 83-point lead on the regular season championship. I think he's pretty much all but won the regular season title, and he's in 10th. So I don't think like 1 or 2 points at the end of the stage is really going to do anything for him. Why not put yourself on the front row with SVG? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't register in my brain as to why what's happening is happening. Yeah, we're still under caution. Josh Bilicki's out of his race car. Is he going to climb back in it like we saw with the Sawalage earlier? Cockpit's on fire for the 91. I wonder if the same thing happened for Sawalage. Sawalage drives the Toyota JGR. Bilicki in the 91 is a Chevrolet, so it's not really a team or manufacturer issue. So we were going to restart with 2 laps to go in the stage. This is going to extend the caution to get Bilicki's car off the racetrack, and I wonder if the stage is going to end under yellow now, which may automatically give the stage win to Jesse Love. Because now we're coming up on 2 to go, which means they're going to have a 1-lap green, white checker restart then after they pull Bilicki's car off track, assuming they can get his car off track in time. They're currently having to put the fire out in the cockpit. CW heads to another commercial break while we wait this out because we're going to have at least an extra lap of yellow and maybe more. I think they've given up, but I'm not sure what they're trying to do. I hate to just pawn it on like they're giving up. I wouldn't think that anybody would give up. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to know what they're saying on the broadcast side of things if they're just as befuddled as I am. Yeah, this is almost the same issue as that William Sawalich deal where we had to add at least an extra lap of yellow because his car might have caught fire. I just find it funny how he got back in. Is he still? No, he's out of the race, I think. Yeah. Sorry, he got back in the car, which I think deemed him out of the race because you can't get out of the car and then get back in it. So that's why he is out and scored 37th. The season from hell for William Sawalich continues on here today. Where was he in points coming into the day? This is a Joe Gibbs Racing Xfinity Series Toyota. And he's 24th in points coming in. And because he finishes 37th, he's only getting 1 point for his finishing results today. No top fives. I'm surprised he even has 3 top tens this year, to be completely honest. And they talked about him earlier having 4 DNFs in the last 9 races. It's going to be 5 DNFs in the last 10 races now for Sawalich. And that would give him 7 DNFs on the year. Not good. And to put in perspective, Eric Almirola has ran 7 races this year, and he's ahead of Sawalich in points, who has ran 18 after today. Because Almirola's not racing today, and he's still going to be ahead of him. That's not good. It's not a good way to extend your career at this level in the same equipment you're currently in, at the very least. Jerry Marty, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, cars could stay out at the end of the stage and make it on fuel to the end of the race easily. Oh, I see what you're saying from when they last. That's the only other thing I can think of. I didn't really think about that till just now. I guess it depends on how many cautions we get. Green flag is in the air on the restart. Jesse Love with contact in the restart zone. Kind of shoved that 00 off towards the wall. I'm not sure how much of that might have been intentional or just him sliding the rear tires because of having to launch in the middle of the corner, but it was just light wall contact for Sheldon Creed. We have 2 laps to go in the stage. Love did not have great pace compared to cars behind him, so it's going to be tough for him to hold on for the stage win on a very fast car today, Sheldon Creed. Through turn 3, Creed on the inside. Love is going to be pinned up on the outside line. His teammate Austin Hill looking to get underneath him, but Hill gets the door closed on him late. Same for turn 5. And we'll see Austin try to outbrake Jesse Love down towards turn 6 for second, while Sheldon Creed already clear for the lead. Connor Zilic looking to get to 4th. He already got by Josh Williams on the restart. Turn 6, he gets by Jeb Burton, and Zilic is up to 4th. Hill still behind his teammate Love, trying to be patient on his teammate, but if he's too patient, Zilic might be there for the taking on both drivers before the end of this stage. 2 corners and 1 full lap to go yet in stage 2. And Sheldon Creed is our race leader. Sheldon Creed has not won a stage yet on the season, so this could be his first playoff point if he does qualify for the playoffs. at the end of the regular season. And 19 stage points when he came in tied for the final spot with Ryan Sieg. Sieg, last place finish because of an incident earlier in the day. So he's going to be 19 points ahead of him just based off the stages alone. And that's not even counting the race finishing results. So this is a great, great job by Sheldon Creed doing what he's doing so far. Shane Van Gisbergen on the restart. And just over a lap has already picked up 4 positions. He's in 15th. Battling Harrison Burton for the time being. Looking to the inside of Burton. Burton with a block late into turn 3. And Burton's got side-by-side traffic in front of him. He's got nowhere to go with Austin Green and Carson Kvapil taking up both lanes of the track. Kvapil very close to that wall off turn 4 as he was on the outside of another car. And that probably cost him some time because now Harrison Burton's looking to make the pass, but he's going to have the outside in turn 6. SVG going to try to risk it. He goes 3 wide underneath both cars. It's a risky move for a guy that's got a lot to lose, but he narrowly gets through there. And Burton barely keeps it off the wall on the outside. No patience shown by the driver who's got the best speed in the house today. My goodness. It was a very high risk, low reward situation for 13th on the racetrack, knowing the stage end is coming. Connor Zilic, who got up to second place, got up to 4th, is still behind Austin Hill. Final corner, and he's going to run out of time to make the pass for 3rd. Because Sheldon Creed will come to the start-finish line. We will finish out Stage 2. So Sheldon Creed, our Stage 2 winner. First stage win of the season for him. Jesse Love 2nd. Austin Hill 3rd. Connor Zilic 4th. And Sammy Smith rounds out the top 5 in 5th. Jeb Burton in 6th. Josh Williams 7th. Justin Allgaier 8th. Brandon Jones 9th. Thomas Annunziata rounds out our top 10. Rod Brown, thanks for tuning in. Wade, thanks for tuning in as well. SVG was 13th at the end of the stage if we do see cars stay out in front of him. Yeah, I mean, that's the only other question. Since we're really trying to figure this out on our own, can SVG is plenty good on fuel to the end. Can everybody else make it on fuel from when they pitted last, which would have been either during the stage 1 end or a few laps before that for some of them? Like Jesse Love has about 3 laps less of fuel than, say, Sheldon Creed, who just won the stage, Austin Hill, Connor Zilic. They all pitted during the stage 1 break. I'm glad somebody pointed that out in the chat, because that was not a thought process for me. It was Jerry Marty who had spotted that out. Evan Stevens, thanks for tuning in. Are you not entertained? I am entertained. It's kind of hard to know what to think of this race from a strategy aspect. It's because I'm lost, which I didn't think was possible with it being a one-stop race, but a little bit. I mean, I guess that's the one way you can beat SVG. That 9 team had to have stayed out because they didn't think they could make it. I mean, there's no other reason why they wouldn't have pitted when they did. We've seen some cautions, but not a lot. It's our 4th yellow. We've had 2 cautions if you count the one we're on right now. This is the 2nd caution since the last time that everybody pretty much in those top dozen positions has pit. And SVG, plenty of fuel because he's splitting the race in half back in 12th. So 20 laps in stage 3 today. As we are just beginning the final stage, we'll end our chat poll since it's the end of stage 2. 81 of you voted. Count 82 now, right before I ended the poll. 82 votes. SVG getting 60% of those. He gets my vote as well, even though I can't technically vote in my chat poll. For some reason, it doesn't let me. I wish it did. But Justin Allgaier gets 17% of the votes. 12% of you said somebody other than Allgaier, SVG, or Connor Zilic. And Connor Zilic, again, surprisingly, only getting 9% of our votes in the chat poll for today. We'll take a quick break while we're at the end of stage 2. Again, you're listening live on KRC to the NASCAR Cup Series or NASCAR Xfinity Series, at Chicago. And we'll have our Stage 2 diecast showing for the stream. And in today's diecast showing, I don't think I've showed this one off on the channel yet this year. It kind of slipped by me for some reason. This is a Dave Blaney Amico number 93 Dodge. And this is from 1999, I do believe. Unfortunately, when I had bought it, the left front tire broke on me. I bought this at Michigan last year. And so I bought it, the left front broke. I bought it broke, essentially. I didn't know it was broken. It was in the case. Shame on me for not knowing that ahead of time. So I just kind of have to, like, throw it on there. But because I'm going to have it hovering over my laptop, I'm going to take it off so I don't break any of my keys on the laptop. But this is the rest of the car otherwise. When it sits in the case, you know, the tire looks fine. So for that reason, I wasn't too upset about it. I only paid $10 for this diecast too. Had I, paid like $70 for a broken diecast, then I definitely would have went back and tried to get a refund or something. But I wasn't worried about $10. I'm like, well, it's just gonna sit in the case and it'll still look the same from there. It's just when I take it out of the case, like right now, it's not gonna look the same. But yeah, Dave Blaney, Amico number 93, I believe, again, 1999. I'll check just to make sure on the date on this, and there is no date on it, which is surprising. Oh, 2001. Okay. I was off. 2 years, 2001. I knew it didn't have the NASCAR 2000 on the side of it, so I just assumed it was 99, but 2001. Amico number 93. All right. Brandon Jones on pit road. Jeb Burton in the pits. And they were both inside the top 10, so that moves SVG up a couple more spots. But everybody else pretty much in those top dozen stay out. So 10 of the top 12 stay out. SVG in 13 stays out. It moves them up again to 11th. And laps winding down under the stage yellow. We'll probably restart with about 16 laps to go in the race. And then that will take us to the finish. Dodge enter. Yeah, you know what? That's a good giveaway. Dodge did enter in 2001. I don't know why I wasn't thinking about that. It's a good point. Thanks for making me look like an idiot, Robert. Yeah, broken toe link before toe links were breaking on Cup cars. The diecast that was 21 years ahead of its time. You only got 4 right in the bracket. Oh, man. Because my bracket was so busted, I have not looked to see where I rank on the bracket side of things. And I'm going to check that right now while we're under caution. Where am I after week 1? I know there were no perfect brackets. I don't know why I didn't look at this through the week. No way. Oh, okay, hang on. I thought that was me. Oh, I only got 78 points. I see now. I was a little confused. I thought it had me in second place for a second. Yeah, that's more likely the case. I wish you could click and see the bracket for everybody else. That's 78 points. I wish it was like how the March Madness app is when you have your bracket there where you can click on other brackets to see who they had. I wish NASCAR.com had the same way. Because if I only got 78 points. Oh, it skipped. No. No. Hang on. Let me count this right. I don't think it submitted my whole thing. It didn't save. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, no, it did. Never mind. I just suck. 78. 11. Why were some of them 11 points and some were 17? I'm confused at the points format on here. Why am I getting 10 points for some of the head-to-head picks and 17 for some? So the upset pick. Oh, you know what? The upset picks might have been more. I think that's what it is. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I didn't know that was a thing. Had I known that, maybe I would have went out on the limb a little bit more. Anyone who did brackets take Ty Dillon over Hamlin in the first round? I know Mama Smith did because they were talking about that on the TNT broadcast earlier during practice. He was bragging about taking Ty Dillon over Denny Hamlin. Because when Hamlin blew his motor, he was bragging about it again. And he was like, well, at least he's not in this round of the in-season tournament. I think Michael Brooks took took Ty Dillon over Denny Hamlin, but I think he did it as more of a joke. There's no way he seriously made that decision. But you know what? More power to him. He got it right, and I didn't. So, all right, Sheldon Creed is our race leader. 16 laps to go. Can he make it on fuel? And can he pace out enough before SVG or a Connor Zilic can get through whatever cars they need to get to the front of the pack? Trade on the inside of row 1, the preferred line. Connor Zilic is outside of row 2. He was 4th place. So he likes the outside of row 2 more than the inside of row 3. The inside line coming out of the final corner would be the outside into turn 1. The restart zone is in turn 12, or just before it, essentially. And that is where Sheldon Creed is about to launch and get this final stage started. There he goes. Launches on the front end of the restart zone. Green flag back in the air. Creed is way clear. Jesse Love did not fire off well in that outside lane, and he may get passed now by Austin Hill, who is on his outside into turn 1. Connor Zilic is boxed in behind the 2 cars that are side by side in front of him. Zilic still has a car alongside of him as well, which would be his teammate Sammy Smith in the 8. Spin, Annunziata into the outside wall out of turn 2, and he has backed it into the tire barrier, and Taylor Gregg, gets slammed into from behind. He had checked up in time to try to miss the car that was parked against the barrier, but then he got clipped in the left rear, and that kind of launched him into the 70. That was just a tough break there for Taylor Gray in the back of the pack. We still continue to stay green at the front of the field, but there is a piece of debris. The back bumper cover of Annunziata's race car is laying in that turn 2 area of the track where he had crashed. So the caution is out. And Sheldon Creed will have to do it on a restart again. Jesse Love, before the yellow flag came out, fell from 2nd to 4th on the restart. Shane Van Gisbergen went from 11th to 7th on the restart. 4 spots gained in about just over half a lap. It looked like Josh Williams in the 11 got into Annunziata's back bumper. And it was the 35 who had gotten into the back of Taylor Gray, which pushed him into Annunziata's car. And that's actually what knocked the rear bumper cover off of the 70. It looked like it was going to be hanging on there after the initial contact with the tire barrier, but that extra hit from behind by the 54 caused it to fall off. There's also no way of telling if it would have hung on the car all the way back around the track. Could have fallen off somewhere else, but we'll never know if that would have been the case or not. 5th caution of the day for the NASCAR Xfinity Series and the Loop 110, the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at the Chicago Street Course. It's the 18th race of the Xfinity Series season in 2025. And Sheldon Creed trying to break through the victory lane for the first time in his NASCAR Premier Series, well, not Premier Series, he's a Truck Series champ, NASCAR Xfinity Series career. Connor Zilisch, who has 2 wins this season, coming on road courses, 3 in his career, all on road courses, is in 3rd. And SVG, who was the dominant car of the day, qualified on the pole, led the entire race until he pitted for the only time, is up to 7th. Now, the good news for the leaders, if they were light on fuel, they have an extra caution with this yellow flag coming out, and they really only ran about half a lap of green before the yellow as far as our green flag laps go in Stage 3. So that's more likely that they will make it on fuel to the end of the race. And with the little tire fall off, you're just trying to nail your restarts and build as much of a gap between yourself and that 9 car who will be coming as much as possible. And then obviously the 88 who's up to 3rd. Looking at some of the lap times here, I think Zilisch still has the fastest lap. 91.846. He's the only driver to run a sub 92-second lap time today. That's amazing because the Cup cars qualifying SVG ran an 89, so about 2 to 3 seconds faster a lap for the Cup cars here at Chicago on the street course than the Xfinity cars. It just tells you how much better the Cup cars drive on road courses. They're more purpose-built to withstand a road course, or in this case, street course layout than these Xfinity cars do. Xfinity cars just have less overall grip, less downforce. When the speeds are greater, though, it could be more liable to making a mistake on a tighter confined track like this, because we saw a lot of mistakes from a lot of good drivers today in both practice and qualifying for the Cup Series. We'll see if they'll have more in the race tomorrow. Fair share of incidences have happened in the Xfinity race. Cup race a little bit longer. We shall see. More experienced, so you would think that maybe it'll be a little bit cleaner, but this is a tough circuit. You get 1 street course a year, so it is relatively abnormal, even though we have more road courses and the drivers are used to maybe making more right-hand turns than what they were decades ago. Not with this tight of confines. Close to the wall on entry to the corner, apex, and exit. Usually it's just kind of exit to the corner on most tracks, especially when it comes to road courses. And usually a lot of road courses nowadays have that runoff area on the exit of some of the sharper corners of the racetrack. So you're not really getting to the close to the wall at all. I would imagine we'll be going green this time by. We'll have 14 laps to go. Actually, we're at 14. So 13 laps to go in the race this time by, which, again, I would assume we'll have the restart there. 64 likes on the stream. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. While we await this caution flag, be sure to hit the like button. Subscribe for more NASCAR content and streams like this. One more to come tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. Eastern will be the Cup race. Again, our coverage continues here shortly on KRC. H. Holly D, thanks for tuning in. I didn't see you in the chat yet. Pretty authentic. Didn't Dave Blaney lose a wheel at Atlanta? One race. I mean, 2001, I couldn't tell you if he did or not. I was very, very young at that time. I don't remember the Atlanta race too well outside of, the spring race, obviously, with the Harvick and Gordon finish, but everything else that went along in that race, I don't really remember much of. Yeah, they'll be heading to the choose rule here. Curious to see where Zilich in third is going to restart. Is he going to take inside? I think he's going to take the inside. Yep. Inside of row 2. He'll be right behind our leader, Sheldon Creed, when they fire off. So if Creed gets a good launch, and Zilich could get a great enough launch behind him, I think there's a really good shot Zilich could get to second by turn 2, which would be where he is on the inside of Austin Hill. Because he'd be on the outside in turn 1 if he can't clear Hill before the braking zone. So on to the restart. And definitely a lot of big players up in those top, really, 7 positions. Well, let's see if we get a full lap in of green flag action this time around. Creed gets the launch early in the restart zone again. Clear of Austin Hill at the start-finish line as the green flag's back in the air. Connor Zilich on the inside of Austin Hill. Out of the exit of 12. He's not going to be able to clear in the braking zone of turn 1, so he's going to be on the outside into that corner. Now he'll be on the inside into turn 2. And this is where I expected him to have that advantage to get to second place. Well, we'll see if he does it. He does exactly that. So job well done for Connor Zilich. He's up to second place, and he's all over the back bumper of Sheldon Creed. It's going to be the most pressure Sheldon Creed has faced pretty much all day long. Not only for the race lead, but even when he was in second. He was outpacing Jesse Love and Austin Hill at times when they were behind him, and now he's got Connor Zilich, who has the fastest lap of the race still. And SVG still running backwards in the pack just a bit. Parker Retzlaff in the 4 car has gone around for a spin. We stay green. Zilich to the inside in turn 6. That didn't take long at all. He gets by Sheldon Creed, and Zilich is out in front at Chicago for the first time today. Creed on the back bumper into the braking zone of turn 7. Desperately trying to get back around this 88. He was able to keep pace with SVG within a second when he was leading. But again, Zilich's fastest lap is about 2/10 quicker than any lap that SVG put down when he was out in front earlier in the race. So now that Zilich has the clean air and the track position for the first time today, can he put some distance between himself and the rest of the pack, and especially before that 9 car gets upwards through the field? I think for Van Gisbergen, yes, he can get to second. I don't think he runs down Zilich if it stays green to the end. I think Zilich is going to have too much of a gap on him. I think he's going to need a caution, but he can't have that yellow until he gets a few spots in front of him first. That way he's closer to the 88 on the restart, because he'll still have a couple rows of cars in front. So Retzlaff went around off the front bumper of the 1 of Carson Kvapil, and I believe that was between turns 4 and 5. Tightly side by side through turn 3 is Justin Allgaier, Nick Sanchez, and Allgaier Not going to push the issue into turn 4, that tight area of the track. Smart move, backs out of it. And he'll try to fight again for another lap with the 48 car and look to make a pass somewhere where he's got a little bit more spacing to be able to do so. Creed might be overdriving the car a little bit because he's losing time in the leader, and he seems to be holding up that line of cars just behind him. Van Gisbergen still in 5th as he tries to work over Sammy Smith in the 8th. There's really only 2 to 3 very good passing opportunities around this racetrack. The others, you're going to need a major mistake by the driver in front of you because the areas of the racetrack in turns 7 through 12 on the back half are way tighter than what they are outside of the fountain area of the track, but that's just kind of a large sweeping left-hander, so it's tough to make a pass there also. Turn 1 and turn 4. Turn 1, long straight kind of into turn 4 if you can get the other guy to lift early. And then turn 6 are really the bigger passing opportunities on the track. SVG was able to get by Sammy Smith before turn 1. So now he's got some time to try to close up on the 2 cars in front of him of Creed and Hill. 11 laps to go. The distance is 1.8 seconds between Zilich and Creed. Hill is 2.2 seconds back in 3rd. SVG 2.8 seconds off the lead in 4th. Sammy Smith 3.4 seconds back in 5th. Jesse Love's 3.6 seconds back in 6th. Nick Sanchez 4.2 back in 7th. Justin Allgaier 4.7 seconds off the lead in 8th. Sam Mayer's in 9th, 5.2 seconds off the lead. And Josh Williams is 6.2 seconds back, rounding out the top 10. Strong run for Williams. I'm surprised he's held on in the top 10 for as long as he has. I wouldn't think of him as a road course racer per se, but he's in 10th place. He's keeping the card clean right now. That was probably the commentator's jinx. He's probably going to go for a spin sometime in the next couple laps just because I said something. I'll wait for that for the moment. All right, now Creed is starting to put a little distance between himself and Austin Hill. I think when the 9 got closer to the 21, Hill maybe started overdriving the car a little bit with pressure from behind rather than driving out of the windshield. And the 00 is getting away from him. We'll see how the 9 breaks into turn 1. This is where he was able to get by the 8 of Sammy Smith the last lap. Heavy on the braking zone on Hill into the first turn. A little bump. Nothing major. He's definitely there. Over, under into turn 2. Hill thought about a block, but he goes wide instead. Almost clipped the tire barrier. Had the lift on the exit of turn 2, and Sammy Smith gets by Hill for 4th as well. That indecisiveness to decipher whether he was going to make the block or not, I think ended up costing him the corner entry. Did a great job through turn 4 getting back by Sammy Smith, though. It was a great crossover move by Hill to at least make the most of that lost opportunity from just the turn before that. So now with that battle at the 21 of the 8th, they're starting to back up Jesse Love and Justin Allgaier, and we got 4 cars under a blanket battling for 4th, while the top 3 are getting away. Shane Van Gisbergen ran his fastest lap of the race at lap 40, but same for Connor Zilich. And lap 41, Sheldon Creed ran his fastest lap. And that lap by Creed was not only his fastest of the race, but it was the fastest lap of the race overall. SVG in that braking zone at turn 1, it seems like where he gains the most on the drivers in front of him. Huge closing rate. Not only is he able to brake so deep, but he's able to get back in the gas so much sooner. And he's about 2 to 3 car lengths behind Sheldon Creed. As they roll through turn 4, turn 6 will be the next best passing opportunity for Van Gisbergen. Out of turn 5, got very close to the back bumper of the 00. And Creed might be pointing him forward. Hand out the window for Sheldon Creed. He's going to let the 9 go. A wise move by Sheldon Creed to just let the 88 go. And you want to know why that's wise? I said the 88 because he drives the 88 in the Cup Series. The 9. Wise move to let the 9 go. The reason why SVG might have pace to catch Connor Zilisch. The hope he does, and they take each other out for the win, and that gives Sheldon Creed the opportunity to win the race. That's got to be the thought process, because Creed is pulled way ahead of Austin Hill. If it stays green to the end, he's got third locked up. You're not going to be able to hold Van Gisbergen off for 9 laps. Might as well let him go. Let him try to run down the 88. And there could be an incident with 2 drivers that are pushing as hard as they can, going for a win. I like it. I like the move. That's a veteran. I was going to say it's a veteran move, but Creed's only in his, 3rd season in the Xfinity Series. He's a truck champion. He does race smart more often than not. I feel like a lot of his second place finishes have come from bad luck, but or maybe not as good a strategy to put himself in the greatest position, but yeah, smart move for Sheldon Creed. And that 0-0 actually, now that I think about it, Cole Custer won here at Chicago in the first Xfinity race back in 2023. Had some problems, I think, for the 7 of Justin Allgaier. He was very slow out of turn 5. Nick Sanchez and Austin Green are pulling away from him quite a bit. And other cars are catching up to the 7 quickly as well. So problems for Justin Allgaier. He was running in 6th. And he is very slow on the racetrack. Cars are trying to rush around him in a tight area of the track. They're going to have to be careful here. I'm not sure if he's got a tire going down or what the issue is. The tires look like they're up for the most part. Obviously, maybe something ain't right. He stays out of the pits. He's going to try to keep on keeping on. There's some damage around the right front fender of the race car, but Allgaier is definitely off the pace and slow. He was in 6th. He has already fallen to 15th in about a half a lap or so. He's getting caught again now by the 31 of Blaine Perkins. And now there's some smoke coming out of the left side of the race car. So it definitely seems to be a mechanical issue. I can't tell if that's the back of the car or the left side of the car it's coming out of. Whatever damage he has, looks like it might be the right side. So I think we're maybe more looking at Justin Allgaier having a potential engine failure than anything else. Yeah, it definitely looks like the smoke is coming out of the back of that race car. Got to be careful not to leak any fluids. NASCAR may end up black flagging him and forcing him to come into the pits so they don't get a caution for fluid leakage late in the race. SVG is running down Connor Zilisch in the 88. That last lap was a 90.947, fastest lap by anybody, and that was SVG. Lap 44. He ran his second fastest lap of the race on lap 43, the lap before that. So the 2 fastest laps of the race were both ran by Van Gisbergen and both in the last 2 laps. He's still got a lot of time to cover and only 5.5 laps to get there. 2.4 seconds. When he first got by Creed, he was about 3.1 seconds back. Although SVG's running the quickest laps of anybody in the race, Connor Zilisch is still running some pretty good lap times too. He's the second fastest car on track, just not as quick as his teammate for today. One Red Bull car versus another. And we've got a caution with 6 to go. The 35 in turn 6 is around. He's parked against the tire barrier. They're going to have to pull his car out. Quite a bit of damage. 6 laps left, and Andre Castro has crashed in turn 6. Well, now we really get a shootout between Connor Zilisch and Shane Van Gisbergen. That would have been fun to watch under Green if SVG was going to get there. He had the pacing to do so, but he would have had to remain perfect. And who's to say Zilich didn't have even more that he might have been, saving some stuff, whatever the case. It's gonna be fun. Well, we waited all day for the 9 and the 88 to get close to each other up at the front of the field. We hadn't seen that until SVG just made the pass for second, but then he had a 3-second gap to try to cover with only about really 8 laps to go by the time he got by Creed. Now, by the time we get a restart, we're probably going to have anywhere between 2 to 3 laps to go. It won't be overtime, I can guarantee that, unless we have a caution on the restart. But this restart shouldn't be an overtime restart. And definitely a green-white checker. It's kind of like one of those old-school green-white checkers at this point. Yeah, that 35 is buried in the wall for sure. Yeah, hey, Sheldon Creed in third. Oh, man, that was a hard hit, too. He was coming in hot. There was nobody around him. Did he lose his brakes or something? Well, while they work on trying to pull the car out of the tire wall. Showing the 2024 season in the select races Connor Zilich ran last year head-to-head with Shane Van Gisbergen. Watkins Glen, SVG finished 5th. Connor Zilich with the win. 4th at Kansas for Zilich. 8th for SVG. 12th at Homestead versus 17th. Zilich over SVG. And Zilich beat him at Phoenix too. 4th versus 12th. So SVG has not beaten Connor Zilich head-to-head yet in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He's 0 for 4, but only one of which was on a road course. And that was when, obviously, SVG was full-time in the Xfinity Series, part-time for Zilich. Now Zilich full-time in Xfinity, and SVG full-time in Cup. But I muted. They were interviewing the crew chief here for Connor Zilich in the 88, Marty Lindley, and realized that I didn't have audio of it. That's all I hear. Nothing. Exactly. No, it's not rated in Chicago. I've gotten asked that by a couple people throughout the course of the day today. I think they think it rains in Chicago every day, apparently. Their only recollection of knowing what the weather's like in Chicago is NASCAR race weekend the last 2 years where it's rained. Potentially tomorrow, but no, clear skies today. There's no rain in the forecast at all this afternoon. Damn Hall, thanks for tuning in. Well over 100 people in the chat currently. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. We're at 67 likes, with more than half of that currently watching. Be sure to subscribe for more NASCAR content like this. Live commentary streams every NASCAR race weekend. Truck Xfinity Cup races as well as Cup practice and qualifying. Trucks are off this week, and they will also be off again next week as well. So just Xfinity and Cup action for both here and at Sonoma next weekend. Next week and the week after, their next race is IRP, Indianapolis Raceway Park, at the end of July. Chicago known for win. Yeah, it's right on the lake. Right on Lake Michigan. A lot of high winds on the Great Lakes. For whatever reason, more so Chicago, and I don't know exactly why, that is the case. I mean, it's windy in Cleveland, I feel like, whenever I'm there. Right on Lake Erie. I don't know really how much windier. Maybe it's just as windy, but Chicago's just trademarked as the Windy City and not Chicago. Or sorry, not Cleveland. Couldn't tell you. I don't go to Cleveland often, but been there handful. It's like a once a year kind of deal, I guess, if I'm ever in Cleveland or driving through it. So I was there for SummerSlam last year. I was there for a concert a couple months ago. I've been there for a couple other WWE shows. I've been to Progressive Field twice for baseball games. I go to Detroit way more often, but I've been to Cleveland. It's like a once a year kind of thing. I'll be in Cleveland for something. So again, under caution late in the race. A lot more smoke coming out of the 7 car for Justin Allgaier. He's finally pulled his car to pit road. He was suffering there before the caution came out. Fell from about 6th to 16th or so before the yellow. All in the span of about a lap or two. Crew members are checking underneath the left rear of the race car. They've taken the left rear tire off. AMR Safety's team is still working on restacking those tires in turn 6, where Andre Castro had crashed against the wall, causing the caution. And we are not going to get the restart this time by. They did not get the choose rule in time. So I would imagine it's going to be a straight up green-white checker, 2 laps to go. It's not deemed overtime, but same rules apply, where if we get to the white flag, the next flag ends the race. If a caution comes out before the white flag lap, then we'll get another restart. But this would be our scheduled distance to the end of 50 laps, assuming we get 1 to go next time by. We'll have 2 laps remaining. Last time Cup or Xfinity went back-to-back on road courses, Cleveland was named the mistake on the lake. I don't know if that's true or not, but I like that. I like that name. I don't think it was that long ago. I know Xfinity had back-to-back road races. Indy Road Course, Watkins Glen was back-to-back in 2022, I believe, with the next gen. 23, 22 or 23, one of those years they were at Indy on the road course. They ran there for a few years. One of those years, they ran back-to-back. I think it was 2022. So it wasn't that long ago. Before that, I don't know that they ever had back-to-back road courses, but I definitely know of Indy Road Course and Watkins Glen being back-to-back. It wouldn't have been last year because Watkins Glen was in the playoffs, so it would have had to have, well, that and they were on the oval again at Indy too. It would have been either 22 or 23. It was definitely with the next gen. It might have been both years, honestly. All right, well, just awaiting the reset. Oh, AJ Allmendinger's in the booth today. Okay, well, that's the first time I saw, because this is all I hear audio-wise. That'd be annoying to listen to for like 2.5 hours. Well, this race is actually pretty short today. We're under 2 hours, assuming we don't go well past the scheduled distance. Field is into the choose right now. So we will be going green this time by. Zillett should obviously have the inside of the restart zone, which would mean he'll have the inside of turn 2. SVG is going to take the front row, so he'll be on the inside for turn 1, outside turn 2, and obviously outside in the restart zone in turn 12. We'll see how he does. Obviously, SVG was on the front row for a lot of the first half of the race. He led the entire first half from the pole, but obviously he would have had the controlled line on the inside, so he has not yet restarted on the outside lane, at least for row one. This could be the first time he's been on the outside lane for any restart today. Zilch is going to have to be at his best to beat the best, which is Shane Van Gisbergen, who has been red hot on these road courses in the last month. Mexico City, domination, won by more than 15 seconds in the Cup Series from the pole. Led the most laps on top of it, won the race. I think he had a stage win that day also. Swept the pole for both races this weekend, Xfinity and Cup. Dominated the first half of the race. The only reason he fell out of the lead is because he had to pit for fuel, and there was a different strategy for the 88 and the rest of the field, really, versus the 9. Zilic got his track position. He was able to get the lead away from Creed with 11 to go, and now has to hold off SVG with 2 laps remaining. It's going to be fun. Green flag back in the air. Great launch for SVG on the restart. He's hanging on that left rear corner panel. Connor Zilic, but Zilic closes him off. At about the start-finish line, he didn't want the 9 car slipping underneath him. Into turn 1, SVG hard on the braking, bounces off the 88. And Zilic scrapes the wall on the exit of the corner, and all clear is Shane Van Gisbergen. Zilic is 3 wide for second, just able to get in line and clear the 00 in the 21. Crossover move, though, by the 00 of Sheldon Creed. He's underneath of Zilic, and this is costing him a lot of time. After SVG ran him a bit wide through that first corner. Van Gisbergen is about 3 to 4 car lengths at least clear down the long straightaway between turns 5 and 6. And it's going to be tough for Zilic to get back to the 9. If he has a chance, I'm assuming he's going to use the bumper. But I don't know if he's going to get back to him unless we get another restart. SVG trying to get to the white flag before a potential caution comes out. Nick Sanchez trying to pass on the outside in turn 9. That wasn't going to work. And closed off very quickly. He was looking to get by Nick Sanchez for 5th. Zilic able to follow the 9 car for really the first time today, so maybe he can adapt to what he's doing and do it better. But the only chance he's going to have to try to make up whatever time needed on the final lap. White flag is in the air, 1 lap to go for Shane Van Gisbergen. SVG through turn 2, holding about a 2 to 3 car length lead still over Zilic. I mean, they look pretty even through the first 2 turns. I don't really see one driver having an advantage over the other. If anything, maybe the acceleration off turn 2 a little bit better for SVG. Heavy under braking into turn 4, trying to gain ground was Zilic. A little bit gained through the chute into 5. Now on the long straightaway, he needs to utilize the draft as much as he can. It's the last long straightaway before the end of this race. Zilic heavy on braking again into turn 6. You can tell he's out braking the 9, but he can't get back to the gas as soon as him, as a result of which he's not as smooth, but if he can get the bumper to him, that's all it's going to take. Turn 7, and Zilic gained a lot more ground on Shane Van Gisbergen. Now around the fountain, turns 8 and 9. We're going to have a few right-handed corners left, and that's going to be it. 3 tight right-handers, no more lefts. SVG sliding the rear tires out of turn 10. Into turn number 11 and 1 final corner as they cross the railroad tracks into 12. Zilic, 2 car lengths back, closes into that final braking zone. But he can't catch Shane Van Gisbergen, and SVG will hold on to win the Loop 110 at the Chicago Street Course for the NASCAR Xfinity Series as he's 1 for 1 on the weekend. Shane Van Gisbergen with the win. Connor Zilic second, a 1-2 finish for Junior Motorsports. Sheldon Creed in third, Austin Hill fourth, Nick Sanchez will finish out our top 5. Back-to-back top 5s for Sanchez. A win at Atlanta last week, a 5th this week. Great job by him. Jesse Lutt finishes in 6th. Sammy Smith in 7th. Sam Mayer 8th. Austin Green 9th. And Brennan Poole rounds out the top 10 for Alpha Prime. Great run for him. Josh Williams finishes 11th. Alex Labate 12th. Harrison Burton 13th. Dean Thompson 14th. Christian Eckes 15th. 16th was Carson Kvapil. Thomas Annunziata 17th. 18th for Blaine Perkins. Daniel Dye 19th. And Kyle Sieg finishes out the top 20. Brandon Jones in 21st. Kaz Grella 22nd. Justin Allgaier 23rd. With the issues he had late. Parker Retzlaff 24th. Ryan Ellis 25th. Connor Mosack 26th. Jeb Burt 27th. Matt DiBenedetto 28th. Preston Pardis 29th. And Brad Perez 30th. 31st last car in the lead lap was Jeremy Clements. Jack Perkins finished 4 laps down in 32nd with damage. He brought out the very first incident of the day. Andre Castro DNF'd. He brought out the last caution, finishing 33rd. Taylor Gray 34th. Josh Bilicki 35th. Anthony Alfredo 36th. William Sawalich 37th. And Ryan Sieg 38th, rounding out our field. So 6 DNFs. 6 DNFs, 6 cautions, 4 lead changes, 18 caution laps. 1 hour, 51 minutes, 46 seconds total time on the race, and we did finish under the regulation length of 50 laps and 110 miles. We're on this 2.2 mile road course. 75 lapper tomorrow for the NASCAR Cup Series. Our live commentary coverage for that will begin at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. SVG burning it down on the front stretch here at Chicago right now. We're probably not going to be able to listen into the interview because my audio does not work for CW for the 3rd consecutive week, so I guess I'm just going to have to end the stream here. I apologize for that you're not going to get any post-race interviews, but again, it's the 3rd week in a row now, unfortunately. I'll wait to see if I can get any audio from maybe the mic at the track, like the speakers at the track. I don't know if they're going to pick up on the coverage. The rugby kick into the crowd. Somebody's getting a souvenir here shortly. You can hear the crowd. I don't think we're going to get an interview here from Shane Van Gisbergen with the CW audio out on our end. Is it out everywhere? I don't know. They've caught up with Connor Zilic, who finished 2nd, but I can't hear anything. Yeah, there's 0 CW audio, so no interviews. Only other race stats to go over, too. 27 laps led for Van Gisbergen, obviously the most. Just over half the race started on the pole. 11 laps led for Zilic, 9 for Sheldon Creed, 3 for Jesse Love. And that was it Those are the only 4 drivers that led at least 1 lap in the race. Margin of victory was 0.8 of a second between Zilich and SVG. I'll have to go on YouTube to find out the interviews for SVG and Connor Zilich here for the post-race side of things. But that will wrap up today's Loop 110 NASCAR Xfinity Series race coverage on the channel. We'll be live tomorrow for the NASCAR Cup Series at Chicago Street Course. And that will begin at 1:30 again p.m. Eastern tomorrow with our pre-race coverage. Thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content like this. 70 likes on the stream so far as we're about to cap things off. Have a good rest of your Saturday night, everybody. Congrats to SVG. Can he get the clean sweep? Like the biggest sweep possible. Not only winning both races, but qualifying on the pole for both races and winning both races. He's got 3 of the 4. He's got 2 poles, 1 win, 1 to go. And, yeah, he was my pick to sweep the weekend. Looking good so far. We'll see if he gets it done again tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everybody.